Hey everyone, Alex here coming at you. Inspired by a couple of videos I just saw today from James Buttery and Dom over at Seeking a Thread in response to Alan Static Traveler's video about the book 1001 Records You Should Listen to Before You Die. And yeah, I kind of wanted to do a different take on it, you know, sort of addressing books specifically that sort of are designed to sort of reorient the way that you think about music, and I think a strong counterpoint to that particular book, which, you know, is as James mentioned, you know, very much like a Rolling Stones, you know, Western, you know, vanilla version of music. This is what is playing in the background here from Francis Bebe, brilliant musician, composer, ethnomusicologist, educator, and I think James showed another record in this series recently as well, and this is the book that I want to highlight. So this video is about, I'm going to show 5 books that I think, like I said, I think are designed to sort of reshape the way that we think about music, at least have for me. And, you know, this is a great one, originally from 1969. Francis Bebe wrote this amazing book that really sort of is a great sort of introduction to African music, the instrumentation, the culture, the rituals, the practicality of music, you know, in African life. And yeah, really kind of, I think, makes you think very strongly and differently about the purpose of music. Yeah, highly recommended. Again, this is from 1969 originally. This is the 1975, English translation, originally in French, from 1969. It should be widely available. It should not be too hard to find. So, highly recommend this. And again, this is his music that we're playing in the background. Second book I wanted to highlight here is this one. So this publisher, Ritter Music, has a bunch of different Japanese guides to different, I don't want to say genres, but this particular one, I think it's particularly fascinating. Of course, the title is Obscure Sound. I think this is a 2013 edition. Obviously, there should have been an earlier one. I don't know when it was. And the way that this book is divided is really fascinating. It's so the the different chapters are on the spine here. So rather than talk about, you know, traditional genres like folk and rock and all that bullshit, you know, they talk about sort of moods, and, you know, obviously these are very subjective in a way, but, you know, so you have floating music, for example, right? Meditative music, cosmic music, experimental, spiritual, psychedelic, ethnic, and so on, organic. And so, you know, again, a lot of these are very subjective. There's even some a whole dedicated chapter to Spanish music. So, I mean, I think that should give you a pretty good idea of kind of where this book is coming from. You know, there is no bias towards, you know, Western music or anything like that, which I really love about it. It truly is a global picture of music based on those particular again, sort of, abstract, the way that those chapters are divided, but yeah, highly recommended. I mean, this is the type of book that, I've been annotating for years, and it's, I look at it on a weekly basis just to find inspiration and explore different sounds. It is primarily, I think, through about up to the 1990s. I think there's some CD only things that are a bit later, but yeah, highly recommend that. Next is the Free Jazz Manifesto by Philip Robert. This is an amazing collection of, as you can see, I've annotated over the years, but as I mentioned here, is about 166 records, a handful of CDs as well. Philip Robert is a French experimental artist. Sorry, he's an author. Philip Robert. The two musicians here, Maurizio and Roberto Pollio, Italian, and they provide some of the entries as well. So they've sort of selected a handful of different records, mostly jazz, yes, but definitely I would say about 20% of the records really are not necessarily jazz, and they basically just show the records. They give a little blurb. There's text in French from Philip Robert, and then text in English from the Italian brothers. Really just an amazing collection of records, and something that'll definitely change the way that you think about jazz in general. This is another great guide here. This one is 100% French. It is dedicated towards field recordings, and it's divided in different ways. I mean, so there's like animal sounds. There's ethnographic recordings. Certainly, a lot of these are CD only, but just going through this and getting inspiration from a lot of the different composers and labels. I mean, there's a huge of course Acora plays a large role here for sure, but many other labels as well. And like I said, a lot of these are, I think this book is from the 90s, so a lot of these are sort of more geared towards things that were released in the CD format. But even if you don't speak French, I think this is a very worthwhile guide. Again, even if you're just sort of learning about different composers, different artists, different ethnomusicologists, and if you have any kind of interest in field recordings, again, ethnomusicology, highly recommend this from Alexander Garland. And finally, a book that I know Tice featured last year. He did a lovely video with his daughter featuring this book and showcasing a lot of the artists here. Very much a book that is meant to be sort of digested. Not in a traditional way. It's very much just a compendium of artists, of women in particular, as the book reads, women, trans, non-binary artists in experimental music. But I think very much there's so many names here that I'm not familiar with, many that I'm very familiar with, that are frankly some of my favorite artists of all time.